Good morning and welcome. This is Corey Young. I'll be your host and moderator today for this session. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Tigerpaw Software. And I want to welcome Dale Stein, the co-founder of TAG, who will be presenting to you today how do you market, call, and set an MSP appointment. Dale, take it away.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate everyone's time to participate in this. I'm going to go through this in a pretty fast-paced. We're all busy. If you have any questions, there's chat, and if you have any questions at the end, we'll be able to answer those. And once again, thanks for the opportunity. Just a little bit of background. I don't want this to be a sales presentation, but I do want to give credibility to who you're listening to. Co-founder of TAG Technology Assurance Group, and we're also a managing partner of Voice Smart Networks, which is an MSP here in California. Voice Smart Networks received a 2013-2014 Channel Partners 360 Award, providing a holistic approach to managed IT services, network security, disaster recovery, voice SIP, surveillance technology solutions for their customers. We are a full unified communication company. My past was owner of iNet, grew a company from $600K in annual sales to $18 million within 6 years. Did that without acquiring any business and did that without borrowing any money. It was a bootstrap organization. We became one of the most successful VARs in our industry. So just a little bit of credibility. I want to tell you who TAG is. We're an international association of unified communication providers, and that's integrating of IT, telecommunications, AV, surveillance, video, telepresence, managed services, managed print, and connectivity. And we have 90-plus members across the U.S. and Canada. We're in 123 cities as an association, and we represent about $350 million in product and services on an annual basis. TAG members benefit from a variety of programs that we drive profitability in their sales growth. We have recurring revenue streams, which is centric to what we do as an association of showing our members how to grow their recurring revenue streams. And we have managed services and IT solutions and provide best practices to them. We have employee productivity retention, market share, and an ability to help them with best practices. Of that 90-plus members, 95% of all our membership are on Tigerpaw, utilize Tigerpaw to run their business from an MSP standpoint, from a unified communication standpoint. We've had a long-standing history with Tigerpaw of being able to work with them and their product integrated into our business and how our business works. I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to be at the Tigerpaw convention in Omaha last year, but I go to almost all the shows across the country, and I have to rank that show as my top 1 or 2 shows that I was able to attend, and the information that was departed from Tigerpaw and how they ran it. So when they come out with their new show, please, register, go to it. It's well worth your time and your energy. The number of MSPs that were at that show utilizing the Tigerpaw product was very, very enlightening, and it was very successful, not only for us, but I believe for Tigerpaw. This is a series of webinars. We've already presented targeting the right MSP audience and making an impact on a decision maker. Today we're going to talk about how do you market and call, and we have 2 other ones that we will follow up here real shortly with times and dates. But what do you do on the first appointment, and then presenting your MSP proposal. So this is a series of 4 webinars that all sort of feed upon each other. They are recorded, and you have the ability to go back to and listen to, or as you get new people in, be able to have a training source for any individual that you have in your company from the MSP side of your business. We all ask, well, what's the silver bullet? Well, give me 1 or 2 ways that if I do this, I'm going to be successful. We all look for silver bullets. And here's what we always say about silver bullets. There isn't any. There's a process that you have to go through. There's not a single one thing you do that says, oh, you do this, you're going to be successful. It's a number of different steps. It's a number of different transactions, a number of different things you do simultaneously that allow you to be successful. And that's what these 4 webinars sort of encompass, that it gives you a blueprint of going into your organization and taking a look at what you do, and it will provide you a process moving forward that will make you more successful than you are today. A simple thing that we do, we try to keep things simple. When I'm a managing director of Voice Smart Networks, and 8 years ago in our association, we saw the shift that was occurring, and the telephony and the data were colliding, and as they were moving together, we said, hey, you know what, our group and the people, we need to make a shift within the association. Today, 100% of our membership is productive and successful on the MSP side of the business, in addition to a telephony side. Our organization is made up of about 50% of data companies coming to us wanting to understand how to go into the telephony side, and the telephony side coming to us wanting to understand how to get to the MSP side. We've been able to merge those concepts and best practices of those 2 industries and allow everybody to be successful. And we've done it with a simple process of, let's keep it simple, and as we keep it simple, we'll zero in on a single service. And what we have found is, if you go in with too much information, if you're trying to sell security cameras, voice system, data services, MSP, all at the same time, it gets way too confusing for the customer. So we want to keep things simple and allow a customer to focus on what we're trying to bring to them from an added value standpoint. You know, we have a tendency of just talking about too much, too soon, with too much information. And this is the biggest challenge that we had with most of our TAG members that were transitioning to the MSP side, of keeping it simple, zeroing in on a single aspect of the business, and understanding the value that it had to not only their company, but to the customer that we were dealing with. Give you some examples is that you have hosted full exchange cloud email. You know, you have 365, or you can come in with a hosted full exchange email, and you're able to talk to your customer about one particular aspect of the business. Geez, how are you handling your email? You know, a lot of people have gone to 365. However, they're missing the advantages of having a full hosted exchange email, and you can differentiate yourself in the marketplace instead of going 365 like everybody else. Give them the ability to go full exchange and also have encryption on that exchange by user by doing that, which now you've differentiated yourself in the marketplace on a single product, and they take a look at it and they say, interesting, and that gives you that first crack in the dike to be able to get in there and do what you want to be able to do with them. You know, the BDR, Business Disaster Recovery, that's a whole separate section that you can concentrate on, put a marketing program together, and when you're bringing in new salespeople and you're trying to get them to be productive for you, you can get them trained on a single aspect of the IT world, and within 30 days, they'll know everything they could ever possibly know about what BDR is, what your solutions are, what its pricing is, how it works, and talk to somebody in an intelligent manner on it. And then each month that goes by, they take on one more product, and they become a lot more comfortable in what they're doing. You know, we have proactive server monitoring, is that you can go into a company, and especially if they have an IT staff, and say, hey, let's take the burden of monitoring your servers, give you some tools to be more productive, eliminate the need for you having to do patching. You know, on Tuesday when Microsoft comes out and doing the patching, we'll do the patching for you automatically, we'll do the backups automatically, and so forth and so on. You know, help desk, you can move over to a help desk, or you can just sit there and monitor the desktop only. And you know, the point that we're trying to say here is that come in with a particular aspect. We were very, very successful with a cybersecurity campaign that I'll sort of talk to you about here today, and that went back into the customer base. And when you look at keeping it simple, how do you go back into your customer base and talk about these particular items, and also how do you market to the new world? And the first thing of marketing 101. You got to market to your employees first. You got to market to your customers second. And once you've accomplished that, then you're entitled to go out and market to the public. But you've got to take that first step is market to your employees, market to your customers, and then start marketing to the outside world. Spam, malware, antivirus. So you take each one of these and you can break them down into the simplest form. You can learn about each one of these in the simplest form and spend the time on each one of these value-added components to your customer and become that trusted advisor over a period of time. And I said our response is keep it simple. Come in, you talk about all these services, it becomes overwhelming. Talk about these services on an individual exchange type basis, and the customer is able to absorb. And as you're building that relationship, people buy from people that they like, trust, and respect. And as you go through the education process with your customer base, all right, they're going to become more and more comfortable as you start talking to them about these individual aspects of their business. So the first thing we say, hey, stop selling, guys. Become an educator instead of selling. This is a format that at the TAG organization we're making this transition. In today's environment, this year is a real pinnacle year of how business is being completed and being transacted. It's the first year that the millennials have outnumbered the baby boomers. We start looking at millennium and impact of millennium 5-6 years ago. Didn't spend too much attention to it because most of them were 23, 24 years old. 5-6 years later, we're at 29, 30-year-olds. And the interesting fact, with over the next 5 years, 85% of all the decisions in these companies are going to be made by millennials. They purchase, they investigate, and they do things differently than what the baby boomers do and how the baby boomers react. Those of you who have millennials within your organization, you know what I'm talking about. They just have a different sense of how they do things. They go to the internet, they do they educate themselves first, and they'll educate themselves and then make a decision. So that by the time they contact you, 70% of their decision process is already made. And that's a major shift that we're saying, and we're saying you got to educate first before you start selling, especially with the millennium type mentality. These are some of the things that I personally belong to here in the San Diego area. Corporate Alliance. It's a business organization of about 250 businesses. So it gives me an avenue and an ability to do various lectures 3 or 4 times a year. I'm able to have lectures for different aspects where I lecture to the within that group, the Attorney Association. I lecture to that group of the CFOs within that organization, and I'm able to give them more of an education of product and services than trying to sell them. Same thing with 6 Degrees, same thing with the MIT Enterprise Forum here in San Diego, and then nationally I belong to the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. Now, when I say belong, I have a chair position in each one of these particular organizations, because just being a member doesn't allow you or give you that privilege of being able to conduct information, educational seminars. You have to be a pretty engaged participant in these type of organizations. But this is where the education process starts. The other education process starts with what does your website look like, how much education are you doing on your website, and so forth, and how do you become more interactive and more educational than selling. Stop selling. Participate in the community nonprofit boards. Educate elite groups, and elite groups are people that within the TAG organization have above the line prospecting, below the line prospecting. Elite groups are people that are dealing with the same C-level people in companies that you're dealing with. Examples are your business banking relationships, CPA firms, anybody that is doing an outsourced business for any particular of your clients and selling to the same people. We have groups that we deal with. We educate our referral groups, and rather than just asking people for referrals, we take the time and do particular web shares and PowerPoint presentations to educate our referral group. So what is the value that we bring as an MSP to our client base? We speak at local universities. We speak at the Entrepreneur Association at 2 of the universities here in San Diego. We talk at IT schools. We hire from IT schools, and talk to anybody that will listen to us, of educating them rather than selling them. Explain where's our industry going, what's happening with our industry, why technology, why MSP is the model, and what's happening from an MSP that's now starting to transition to desktop as a service, and all of the things that are occurring in the outsourcing of IT services. One of the slides that we start with, and I started this with our own sales force here within the VoiceSmart area, and a lot of the sales forces that were making the transition to understanding technology. And this slide is, we start off with an organization, whoever we're talking to, any of these associations I talk to, and we say, well, you know what, making office technology less complex. And then I show them this slide. And I said, there it is, very uncomplicated and not a lot of complexity. And everyone sort of laughs a little bit. And then I walk them through this so that they sort of see, just what we're doing and what we're talking about. But then we go through and make it real simple for them. That's something that they will be able to understand, because we're finding that we're talking more and more to owners of businesses and CFOs of the businesses versus an IT person. We typically will start with a CFO or the owner of the company, and if they refer us down to their IT or their IT guy, we simply say, well, before we get there, let's prove ROI, let's prove some concepts first. Once we get past the ROI and some concepts, then we'll bring the IT people in to validate and prove the technology. So our first appointment is going to be with an owner or a CFO, and we're going to start having these kinds of conversations. When you really look at what we do as an MSP, I mean, this is how simple it is. Everybody has a server within their facility, and you got servers, and that server is connected to, the World Wide Web, and those servers have all the various computers connected to them. And we talk about network, LANs, WANs. Everybody sort of understands that because they have a computer sitting on their desktop, and they understand what that is and what it does. And we talk about what we do for that from a proactive monitoring, what we do that for patching of software that comes out on Tuesday from Microsoft, what we quarantine, so forth and so on, and we monitor it in a proactive manner so that before they even know they have a problem, we're already talking to them about that problem. We talk about cybersecurity, and right now you can't pick up anything and read about anything about IT what I have in cybersecurity, mention it in some form or whatever, and we then start talking about our firewalls. We start talking about the edge of the network. We talk about protecting them internally, but also protecting them when an employee goes out to the web and the internet, of what are they picking up and what are they trying to bring back into your network, and how we can avoid those kind of ramifications. You have the phone system. We're finding that almost all of the surviving entities out there are fully unified, where the phone system, all it is now is a node on the network, and we sort of explain that network transaction with them. And like I say, keeping it simple. The thing that we've really learned is we will never propose both the phone system and a data MSP transaction simultaneously. We'll pick which one we're going to go in with first. It's typically the MSP package. Once we have the MSP package, then we simply say, hey, we got a hosted node that we can put onto this and overlay it, but we let them make that decision first. And then, when we talk about disaster recovery, there's a number of different ways of disaster recovery. You have the nature side, where you have the flooding, you have fire, you have earthquakes, you have weather, storms, tornadoes, and so forth. But you also have, business interruption, that if a server does go down, what happens if you lose that information? So we start talking about backing things up into the cloud and whatever it takes from that perspective. We have IP security access control, which has also become a very integral part of most companies, and most MSPs are also managing this, and we do all our IP security that is now all managed in the cloud, which has really brought some significant impact to that particular arena. We talk about video conferencing, which is also cloud-based. My cost for a 10-room video conferencing is $65. My tag members sell that for $135, and that's what we call recurring revenue, and it's all cloud-based. So your customer can put up a video conferencing room with 10 participants and for $125, $130 a month, and the only equipment they're really purchasing is a camera. Talk a little bit about the marketing program. I went into it a little bit. You got to market to your employees first. So anything we do from a marketing standpoint within the TAG organization, we send it also to our employees. We also send it to all of our customers. How many of you are sitting out there and one of your customers went and bought a service from somebody else because they were not aware that's what you do? We all have had that happen to us. And we have a marketing program that we run through the Tigerpaw very, very effectively. And that marketing program allows us to take particular ads, and once a month, and we usually pick the first Tuesday of the month, we send to our employees, we send to our existing customer base, and then we send to our marketing lists. And this one in particular is disaster recovery. I'll blow a couple of them up. Losing your company has never been so relaxing. We've got you covered. And this is a whole series that we supply to our TAG members at no cost. We have every category you can imagine. The ads are a little edgy. They're not a lot of verbiage. They're pictorial primarily, but they have a message. And the whole concept is they get to see the name of my company, and they get to see a phone number. And what we typically do is each salesman would put his name above the telephone number so that each individual salesperson is able to market themselves along with the company. So, in San Diego, there's 4,000 of these, 4,000 to 5,000 a month that go out, and we have our name out there, and our customer base is taking a look at the various ads that we send them, and they're saying, oh, okay, data, losing company data has never been so relaxing. They're our customer base. Our advocates will go in that month and talk to our customers about disaster recovery. What are you doing now? How are you doing it? Can we show you a different way? Another example, 70% of businesses that suffer a major data loss shut their doors. It's nice being in that other 30%. And that's a direct quote from Price Waterhouse. And these just get people to stop. It gives your salesperson the first conversation to talk to your customer about, and it puts your company top of mind, especially when storms are coming or we got bad weather. People are more tuned into the weather aspect of it. San Diego just had a major rainstorms with the last couple of weeks. When that weather was coming through, we just start sending out this type of marketing program to the San Diego area, and we're fairly effective with it. Make an impact on the decision maker, and this is where we're talking about managed IT services, and these are going to the CFO, they're going to the owners of companies, and it talks about what is managed services. And once again, I have about 50 different categories that you're able to pull from depending upon what you're trying to do. But this goes out, same type of thing, managed IT services. Your business just got a team of nerds that don't sleep. And once again, the name's out there, the phone number's out there. And over a period of time, because it takes about 8 to 9 times where someone starts recognizing a name. We're averaging about a 35% open rate, and for people to opt out is very, very minimal, because Like I said, the ads are a little entertaining, they're a little edgy. We've been very, very successful with the program. You know, this is network defense, hiding from IT problems, network security. So any particular aspect or any singular product or value that we bring to the customer, you have an advertising program that can go out to soften the marketplace. But more importantly, all your employees start understanding what you do. All your existing customers start understanding what you do, and we go from there. So, you know, before we make the call, you know, when you went through that first presentation that we did, we talked about, you know, getting to and sending out and start to the call, but we have a real simple basic. Before we make the call, we look up LinkedIn first, and we look for first and second connections. LinkedIn has become a critical aspect of how we do business. We use this product more than any other product that we've ever used in the past, and that's why it's real critical to have a strong LinkedIn presence of what you do and who you are. You know, we talk about signature, email signature, and your LinkedIn signature, your LinkedIn access should be on your email signature, because people will go look at your LinkedIn. They'll go look at who they know that you know. And before we go on an appointment, or before I make a call to make an appointment, I've sent out my email. I see that someone's responded to it. They have an inquiry. You know, not only will I pull their website to find out who the company is, but I also will find out who do I know. And all of you have been in business long enough. If you are participating on charity boards, if you're participating in lecturing throughout the community, if you're giving back to your community, you become known within the community, and you start knowing a lot of other people that all will help you when you reach out to them. For example, I call and I say, Joe, I noticed your first connection with Jim. I have an appointment with him next week. Tell me a little bit about this guy. And you'll get a different insight, and at some point in time, your conversation will go, hey, I was on your LinkedIn account, and I noticed here you know Jim, and I've known Jim, and so forth, and now you've got commonality, and people feel more comfortable with commonality. It's a very, very integral part of your success. If you're not looking at LinkedIn before you go out on every call and with anyone you're dealing with, you're missing some opportunity here. You know, to make the call, I mean, we keep it real simple. This slide is absolutely critical, and when you make a phone call, gentlemen or ladies, there's only three things someone can ask you. That's who are you, where are you from, and what's this regarding? And we've been making calls trying to set appointments, cold calls, warm calls, whatever the case may be. And what we learned over the years is that if you give them the answer to two of the three questions, there's a high probability they're not going to react fast enough and they're going to push you through. The other thing, you don't want to sound like a telemarketer, and you also want to have the ability to be successful in this transaction. So I go, hi, this is Dale Stein from Voice Smart Networks. I need to talk to Joe. Is he available? Well, that doesn't sound like a telemarketer, does it? It's Dale Stein, so she can't say, who is this? She can't say where you're from. Say Voice Smart Networks. I need to talk to. Most critical word you'll ever say in a phone call. I need to talk to, because that subconsciously that sets sense of urgency to Joe Smith or to Joe. Is he available? So the gatekeeper goes, hi, Dale Stein from Voice Smart Networks. I need to talk to Joe. Is he available? Well, she senses familiarity. She senses sense of urgency. She can't ask you any questions because you already gave them to her. And you know what? She's going to push you through 85% of the time. And, you know, if she does it, we have a whole list of training how to get around that and so forth. And the most important thing now is once you get hold of Joe, you know, what do you say? Because you will get past the gatekeeper. You will get to the person that you're looking for. And statistically, here's what we know. For every right person that you ask for an appointment, and that right person is the owner or the CFO, for every 12 times you make a phone call and ask for an appointment, you will get an appointment. and that's whether you're selling bubonic plague shots that they're going to die if you shoot them, or if you're giving, 5-pound gold bars for, $100. I get excited when someone says no, because then I say, geez, I only got to ask this question 11 more times. So that first phone call really becomes important, and this will help you doing that. Setting the appointment, we always say, Tuesday at 10:30 or Wednesday at 1:30 be more convenient. This is a major minor. We've talked to that customer, if we know that they've opened up the email with the email campaign, or I know I just recently sent an email campaign, I'm cold calling in there and I'm talking about a particular aspect, and I say, Joe, Dale Stein from VoiceSmart, the owner of my company, John Kuris, has asked me to give you a call regarding some disaster recovery. I'd like to take 15, 20 minutes of your time and show you the innovation that's occurred from a technology standpoint and the value that it can bring to your company. Would Tuesday at 10:30 or would Wednesday at 1:30 be more convenient? Well, Dale, I don't really handle that. We have our IT director, and I don't know what we're doing with that. And I said, well, I understand that, but, we're very ROI-centric. I'd like an opportunity just to take a look from an ROI standpoint, get a little bit better feel for what you're looking for as the owner of this company, and understand your vision of where you want your company to go to. Would 10:30 or 1:30 be more convenient for you? And we ask for the appointment. And you know what? We're very, very successful with this as we go through the transactions. We want to keep it simple. We ask the first question, and these questions are real critical in that anyone that you're dealing, including your existing customer, new customers, anybody that you meet, is that how do you do this now, and what reporting do you have associated with it? In other words, well, I have disaster recovery. Really? Well, how are you doing that, and what kind of reporting do you get on that on a consistent basis? Well, here's what we know is that most of my competitors do not have a well-documented way of getting reporting and meeting with their customers to show them reports of what they're doing and where they're at. So I always say, well, geez, I don't really see any reports. So, well, okay, that's sort of interesting. I'm going to ask my second question, and that is, will you let me show you a different way of doing it? Now, your existing customer base, that should be a no-brainer. They'll say yes. All right? Now, a new company that you're meeting with, depending upon how you've approached them, and depending upon that we haven't gotten them super confused. Geez, I use Microsoft 365. Really? What kind of reporting are you getting on that? And well, I don't really get any reports. Well, you don't know the utilization. You don't know how many tickets you've had on it, or how many times you have to get to Microsoft, but because Microsoft doesn't own a phone system, it is impossible to talk to anybody at Microsoft. Everything goes to an email, and that's a chasm. Can I show you a different way of doing that? And product we use is SureWeb, and it's a full 365. So it gives me that break in there to say, will you let me show you a different way of doing this? And once you get the yes, right? It's either going to be a yes or no, but if you get the yes, we want to keep it simple. And this is where we all have access to diagnostic tools, analyzers. And, we happen to use RapidFire. We introduced a prospect to RapidFire. And we simply show them that, hey, I need to take a picture of where you're at today, where we want to go to based on conversation, and how we're going to get there, and I get them to get permission. This is our first thing we do in the sales process, is get them to allow us to go onto their server and put in RapidFire so I can do a diagnostic and analyze what their network's all about. We arrange for deployment, get the IP address of their domain server, and once you have that, it's all downhill from that point. This stuff. If you can get past this transaction, now you have to understand, these are your existing customers. You already have it. You already know what their network is, and you should be running reports every month, and you should be talking to them about what they're doing. We leave the site, we stop talking. These are the new companies that we're talking to. We got the appointment. We go in on that first appointment. We ask some real basic questions on a particular subject. How you doing it now? Can I show you a different way? They get a little familiar with you, and once they've made that, well, yeah, okay, let's see where we're at. Let's see what we can do, and you now have the reports, and you can start your sales process. We leverage Tigerpaw. This is what all of our, like I said, we've had a long-term relationship with Tigerpaw on the MSP side and the data side and the voice side. We track and manage our reoccurring revenue by account, and we're able to do that through Tigerpaw. We leverage the sales opportunities from your base to new business. Tigerpaw, we utilize the, you have to be able to manage what you're doing. You have to manage the process of the sales process, and we've been able to take the Tigerpaw, and as our salespeople go through the sales process, we know where they're at, what's the next step, what needs to be sent out, how we're going to put it forward. Okay, I had the direct mail go out, that becomes the lead. Once I've made the call and set an appointment, we turn that into an opportunity. Then we have 5 stages of the sales process as an opportunity, and we're tracking that. And as a sales manager, we're able to sit down with our sales force and help strategize, taking the leads to opportunities, to the proposals, to the quotes, to a new customer, and track the actual sales process. We record customers' conversation so that we understand the next touch point. I can go into any customer, any of my sales guys are working on, and see what's being discussed, how it's being discussed. And the number one thing that I find when I go in there is I say, geez, you're throwing too much at that customer. Let's keep it a little simpler. Because once you get that first time to take a look at any particular transaction, they will then allow you to go look at the rest of it. Because once you have that analyzer and you have those reports, that allows you to talk now about full MSP. And I don't know how many of you are Tigerpaw users, but you got the automated workflows and central billing. You got your sales and marketing that integrate between the two, and then the most important thing is your reporting, your dashboards. There's a little bit of example of it and so forth, but it becomes an integral part of our success of keeping track of, geez, are we online? Are we doing the steps of the process? Where are we at with the process? What's next steps, and what do we have to do? And especially now, they have this new, I think it's all-in-one now. I think that's what they're calling it. Where
Tigerpaw One. Yep.
Say it again.
So we're branding it as Tigerpaw One. So when you purchase Tigerpaw, you get all of Tigerpaw, from CRM to inventory control to service management, project management. You get all of Tigerpaw with your singular purchase.
Yeah, and we're just now moving to that, and because before we'd get this module, that module, but they've come out with an absolute wonderful program. Every employee in the company now has every module, everything's working. You get trained on it. It's the most. That's what we really love about Tigerpaw. They continue to stay ahead of the curve, and they help us and so forth. So you have that, Tigerpaw One, which means you have everything. And they've done it on a recurring revenue basis, and they've done it at a single cost per month. So it's really, really simplified, and it's a tool that we use extensively. So this is Increased Sales and Profits Today. Learn what TAG can do for your business. If you do want to pursue what TAG is doing, if you want to see if TAG can be of any assistance to you, that's my information. Please take it down. I'm pretty accessible. Every time we do this kind of a web share, I'll get phone calls on a particular subject or a particular aspect. We try to give more than we take, and we want to be able to have you guys be professional, represent your industry in a professional manner, and we want you to be successful. So at this point in time, we'll see if there's any questions or anything else that we can answer. And Corey, if you're able to monitor some of those questions, I'm here to take on any questions or anything that people want to talk about.
Sure. Yeah, so in your GoToWebinar panel, there's the questions area. If anybody has any questions for Dale or for myself with Tigerpaw, feel free to enter those there, and we'll field your questions. We haven't seen any come in yet, Dale, but we can give folks a couple moments to maybe formulate some questions if they have any. I did have one question pop up earlier about the recording of this webinar. We'll be sending out a recording of the webinar to all attendees within the next 24 hours. So if you want to fire this off to a colleague or peer within your organization, you can feel free to let them watch the webinar as well.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched the first webinar, you may want to ask, just get back to Corey, get a copy of that first webinar, because all four of these webinars sort of feed upon each other. And when you have all four of them finally done, you got a pretty good understanding of how to be successful as an MSP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have any questions for us here at Tigerpaw, feel free to email us at sales@tigerpaw.com. Again, that's sales@tigerpaw.com. Thanks for everyone attending. I want to thank you, Dale, for presenting your great content. As usual, TAG is always presenting great content for us, so we appreciate the partnership. So thanks again.
All right, thanks, Corey.
Yep, and everybody have a great Thursday. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.